Kakadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 65, page 161, Siman 27. Halacha Nun Gimel. Yeah, 53. Winding the strap on the finger. So everyone we know, we always wind the strap on the finger. The question is different minagim, Sfaradim, Ashkenazim, but everyone does it on the finger. Yeah, everyone does it. So it says like this: as soon as the person has put on the tefillin shel rosh, yeah, he should immediately turn back to the strap of the tefillin shel yad and coil it 3 times around the middle finger. He should form the first coil around the middle segment of the finger, and then the 2 more coils around the first segment nearest to the knuckle. There's 3 parts. Part number 1, middle part, and the bottom part. Yeah, so he comes and he says, you're putting the first one. Yeah, you're putting the first one over here. Yeah, he says you're putting the first one here.
How do I pull up the illustration? It says illustration number 50.
You can't. Yeah, and then you have the other 2 over here. Yeah, he comes and he says the other 2 are going to be right here. Okay, fine. So he comes and he says, so you first do it in the on the middle segment of the finger, then the 2 coils around them. 175 Talmudic source. Where do we see this in the Gemara? Are you listening? Listen.
Right now we are.
Daruch cited the Midrash and Chuma, stating that Shakish taught that the minimum length of the strap for the tefillin shel yad is long enough to reach the middle finger. The Rambam likewise also must be long enough to circle the upper arm, fasten around the place, and then go down to the middle finger. Quote around the finger 3 times and then turn in place. So the Samag quotes the Rif the same. The Mordechai suggested that the poskim interpreted the words of the Talmud. Ravashi, Ravacha bar Yaakov tied and tripled the coil. It means the middle finger. The Lachabra deduced from the Mordechai that the Lacha demands that we strap them around the middle finger. This is in contrast to the Rambam, who wrote that it is no more than a custom. Right? That means, is it a custom or is it a Lacha? It's much more that it's a Lacha, not only just a custom to go around the middle finger. Oh, 1 second. At any rate, the Shulchan Aruch quotes the Rambam's interpretation and it's become universal custom anyway. So no matter what, for sure it's a custom. The question is, it is mamash al-halacha or not? How do you do the 3 coils? So Magen Avraham, quoted by the Mishabra, explains the one custom is to wind the strap twice around the bottom segment of the finger and once around the middle segment. Okay? So in that order. So you do 2 on the bottom and then 1 in the middle. So he says, we do 1 in the middle and 2 on the bottom. But we start with the middle.
What do you do?
Yes.
The way they taught me. I do it here.
That's the middle. That's the middle. Exactly. This is the top. This is the top part. Top, middle, bottom. Bottom is towards the knuckle. So you do 1 in the middle and 2 on the bottom.
I learned, they told me to do one, then 1. Yeah, when I learned in beginning is when I started to learn.
Again, 1, 1, 1.
4.
Yeah.
4.
Nah.
We
We just said you don't make shavuot. Yeah. Sephardic shoes. Exactly. Yeah, that's where I think you went. Sephardic Jews follow the second custom since it matches the instructions of the Shara Kavanot, as cited in the Ben Ish Chai and the Kaf HaChaim. Okay, fine. Okay, but another custom was to first do it around the middle and then the 2 on the bottom. So basically, the Magen Avraham brought down 2 different minagim. Do you first do the 2 on the bottom and then 1 in the middle, or first do the 1 in the middle and then the 2 on the bottom? We follow the one in Shara Kavanot. We do 1 in the middle and 2 on the bottom. Okay, next. Right, I'm on the next page of 162 on the bottom of the footnote. Why 3 coils? Okay, so the Shit Chochmah brings down, right, that the coil strapped around the finger symbolizes a ring used by a groom to get married to a bride. Therefore, the strap should not be coiled around the finger until one puts on the tefillin shel rosh, since the tefillin shel rosh symbolizes the male. So he says, if the male has not yet arrived, how's he getting married? Right? So that's exactly what we do. We first put on the tefillin shel rosh. After the tefillin shel rosh, then you put on the ring. And the ring is the... No, 1 second. This is the widespread custom, and no one should stray for the following system. Furthermore, the Arizal also taught that a person must be standing up while winding the strap around the finger, just like a groom, when he gives over, according to the Kabbalah, he's giving over the ring, he has to be standing. He can't be sitting. Okay, what about the Ashkenazi custom? So Sephardic Jews wind the wrap around the middle finger, as described here. Many Ashkenazi Jews, however, have the custom of winding the strap once around the middle finger and the index finger together. Meaning the Ashkenazim are not doing what we just mentioned. The Ashkenazim are doing 2 together. The index with the middle finger. Okay? Others wind the 3rd coil around the middle and 4th fingers. The response that can also quote in the Piskei Teshuvot explained that in this way the 3 coils form the letter Yod on the back of the hand and the letter Dalet on the palm of the hand. Okay, that's interesting. Halakha Nun Dalet. Okay, 54. after winding the strap 3 times around the finger, the person should wind the remainder of the strap around his palm and then tuck it into the end, right? That means basically you go around and then you tuck it in. That's what you're supposed to do. 176. The Rambam, right, and the Shulchan Aruch say that after winding the strap 3 times, you tie the strap into place. I said, okay, he says, where do you have to tie the strap? He says it's not only just a suggestion, just that way it doesn't become unraveled. Meaning if you don't tie it anywhere, what happens is it's just going to come off. So therefore you come and you put it around the palm and then you tie it inside, you tie it. That Ayar comes and he added, it's not imperative to tie the strap in place with a knot at all, although that is the meaning of the Rambam's words, meaning the Rambam says you have to actually tie, right? But he says you don't have to tie it. He says all we do is just wind it several times around, right? And that prevents it from becoming unraveled, right? But in fact, winding the strap around the palm is enough even without tying it. Even though I did remember once, my Shiva brought an entire shiur that since it says so you have to tie it to your hands, so that's the pshat that you're tying. You're not tying it here. Here you're tightening. You're tying it here, right? So that means it's mamash. You have to do it like with a keshet. So again, but that's what it says. How to wind the strap's remainder on the palm. Sephardic Jews have no particular system winding up the extra strength, the extra length. The Ashkenazi Jews use the form of letter shin on the back of the hand. This custom is mentioned in the Tashbetz that Rishon LeZion brought down, right, in the Chavedat, to prove that unwinding the strap is not considered an act of erasing Hashem's name, right? There's no problem, even though there's a shin dalet and yod there. The coils of the strap suggest the form of the letters of the names, but the letters are not actually formed, so therefore there's no problem. Okay, and they basically, I have a question. If you make a shin, so how do you undo it? If you undo it, you just take off the name of Hashem. So obviously he's saying there's no problem. Okay? Halacha 55, right? Nun hey. The common custom is to say the following psukim, winding the straps around the finger. Which is basically, again, 3 different, you got married to me, right? You have betrothed me for all time. I have betrothed you with me with righteousness, justice, kindness, and mercy. I have betrothed you to me with faith, and you shall recognize Hashem. Anyone who observes this custom reciting these psukim must make sure to say the psukim for the mitzvah of Torah study. Right? Sorry, he has to say the berachot, birkat the Torah beforehand, before putting on the tefillin, because he's saying psukim. So some poskim argue, they said, no, one should not say these psukim until after the winding the strap around the three times, because if someone does it beforehand, so it might be a hefsek. Meaning, if I'm doing it while I'm doing it, I'm making a hefsek, a pasek, yeah? I'm making an interruption in between. So when you finish the 3, now you could say the 3 of them. Like, okay, there you can do it. What, how do I do? I don't answer personal questions. 177. The source of this custom is the Matzat Mishimunim brought down the Rav Chida, the Ben Ish Chai. Okay, fine. Is there an interruption, right, by saying these psukim? The Rambam wrote that winding the tefillin strap around the finger is an essential element of the mitzvah of the tefillin. Ksota Shulchan brings down that this is incorrect to interrupt in between. So you shouldn't do that. So he pointed out that these psukim do not appear in the Rav Zalman's book. Despite this, the Ksota Shulchan concluded the discussion without a stringent ruling. He just wrote that only people that should avoid conversing in other subjects. The Netivei Am comes and he says also that it would be an interruption. The Yekud Yosef testified the Maran did not observe the custom of reciting these psukim, apparently because of the issue discussed here. So he didn't do it. Rav Ovadia didn't say these psukim. The Lacha Brura remarked that there is a discrepancy between different manuscripts of the Perador, and according to some versions, there's no proof that winding straps around the fingers is an essential part of the mitzvah. Whether or not, if someone postpones reciting the psukim until afterwards, there's no problem. Okay, what about if someone is reciting the pasukim, right, before putting on the tefillin shel rosh? So he says that that nota relates to, someone asked Rav Chaim Kanievsky with that, what is halacha? If someone mistakenly wound the strap around his finger, right, even before he put on tefillin shel rosh, Rav Chaim suggested that it might not be an interruption, and we already explained in Siman 25, the halacha states if someone interrupts by speaking about putting on the tefillin, he does not need to say an extra blessing. There is a basis to say that reciting these psukim is directly connected to mitzvah tefillin, especially in light of the concept that that's what you're doing. It's like a kilo, it's a siman of a betrothal that you're getting engaged in. So there is obviously something what to